So the whole ordeal there with the FBI informant wasn't relevant to the investigation. It was one part that we investigated, but the Democrats and the intelligence community are colluding with the media to try to say that that was a key part of the investigation, and therefore the investigation needs to end.
James Comer and them are still trying to generate something out of their embarrassing attempts to convince voters that they have any evidence on President Biden regarding their money laundering accusations. Yeah, it's still happening. He figures that if he adds the talking point that the media is also in on the collusion between the Bidens and the intelligence community that they once trusted to make him look like a fool, some gullible MAGA types, maybe they'll finally start listening. But the problem is that these guys have been endorsing the now nefarious intelligence community for months.
House Oversight Chairman James Comer says he and his colleagues plan to drop a bombshell.
It's going to be Judgment Day tomorrow for the White House.
You have the confidential FBI informant who's basically saying that Joe Biden took $5 million from Burisma.
The informant was a highly valued human source for the FBI.
A trusted,
Highly credible informant.
a trusted, confidential informant.
They had a credible source, one of their good sources.
Their most credible paid FBI informant.
We have determined that whistleblower is extremely credible.
The details come from an FBI informant who is very trusted.
A highly reliable informant that has always checked out. All the information he's ever given us is checked out.
A confidential human source that had been reliable previously to the FBI. A confidential human source gave credible information. This FD 1023 is damning. I do a podcast 3 days a week, Verdict with Ted Cruz. The podcast has gone into the details.
This is a very crucial piece of our investigation.
It was obvious months ago, especially when several of Comer's fellow Republicans in the House and the Senate had been paying him dust over his endless attempts to make this a thing. So they're short on evidence while tossing around an abundance of empty speculation, which means the next step for any ragtag investigation like this is to call for criminal referrals, which he can't get.
What else can you do to get some accountability after all of this information that you say you dug up?
I think the two best options moving forward are obviously criminal referrals and then impeachment. Impeachment's still on the table. There's still an overwhelming majority of Republicans in the House of Representatives that agree with me that Joe Biden has committed impeachable offenses. Now, our confidence level in the Senate is very low, but at the end of the day, the criminal referrals are something that I believe if we don't have a Department of Justice today, hopefully in a year, we will have a Department of Justice that can hold them accountable. But we're going to have the tools in place to hold this family accountable for the criminal wrongdoing that they have committed one way or the other.
Just stunning, truly stunning.
The stunning part is that Maria Bartiromo continues to have Comer on the same show to toss around ideas about how to fill out his time in Congress, since he has absolutely no interest in working for his constituents. He's running out of options, so he's looking for some help in the most unexpected places.
House Oversight Chair James Comer is going for broke more than a year into his evidence-free impeachment probe into President Joe Biden. He has now invited the president himself to come on down to the Hill and testify before the committee on April 16th. Because it is, one, the White House is treating this as a joke, responding with a meme from the movie Love Actually. And like always, Chairman Comer is always 10 steps ahead.
Well, Garland's working with the deep state, who's working with the liberal mainstream media to try to indoctrinate into people's minds that there's no evidence.
Yeah. All this time, he was missing the simplest solution. Just ask the president to come testify and admit to all of the evidence-free accusations that they've been tossing around. It's genius. But since a simple invite didn't work either, it's time to unleash the big guns to call his ass out.
Dr. Carson, White House spokesman Ian Sams responding to the Republican Party's, quote, invitation for Joe Biden to testify about his family's overseas business dealings. Here was the response, quote, LOL, this is a sad stunt at the end of a dead impeachment. Call it a day, pal, end quote.
Unfortunately, the left is certainly not past political stunts. And the sad thing is that the media has joined hand in hand with them in pushing all of the agendas that they wish to push. They want the American people to think that there's no thing that the Bidens have done that is immoral, that is wrong. They say there's no evidence, even though you have all these altered bank accounts and money laundering schemes and false names and witnesses. If it were Trump with that kind of evidence, it would have been a different story. But they say it's nothing.
I really didn't think this could get more pathetic until Ben Carson slowly recited the same talking point that the media is covering up all this evidence and colluding with the Bidens and the intelligence community, the way Jim Jordan and James Comer have been talking about for over a year now. There's a pretty decent chance that if they just quietly walk away from this entire fiasco, enough people just might forget that they wasted this much time, energy, and money on a crusade to equate Biden to Trump's laundry list of crimes. Because at this rate, their opposition is just teeing off on their incompetence in public and in front of them.
Look, Chairman, we got like 3.5 minutes here. I mean, let's just do the impeachment. I mean, why continue to waste millions of dollars of the taxpayers' money if we're going to impeach because you believe you've shown he's committed a high crime and misdemeanor? What are you waiting on? Let's just do it. I mean, by the way, we got Chairman Jordan here also, the double chairman. Why aren't you guys calling for the vote in your committee? When is it going to happen? When can we tell the American people you're going to stop wasting their money and just call for the vote on impeachment?
Gentlemen, yield?
Sure.
We don't do snap impeachments like you guys. We actually do the facts. We do oversight according to the
you're
Constitution.
never going to call for it. You're never going to call for it. I mean,
now you can predict. You can predict the future. How do you know?
You guys only have 6 more months probably in power, right, until the election. So are you gonna do it in 2 months? Are you gonna do it in 3 months? Like, tell the American people.
Does the Constitution put a time limit on oversight?
So
I don't think I didn't read that in the Constitution.
If you believe you can't call for the impeachment now, then what you're admitting is you haven't yet proven that he's committed a high crime and misdemeanor. You haven't proven it yet. Otherwise, you would call for it, I assume. They're never going to impeach Joe Biden. It's never going to happen because they don't have the evidence. Okay, this is a show. It's all fake. They just want to do these hearings. It's not leading to impeachment. They're lying to their base on Newsmax and Fox, leading these people to believe that they're going to eventually impeach the president. It's not going to happen.